When passengers boarded the Norwegian Escape cruise ship in New York on March 3, 2019, they had no idea that their week-long vacation would transform into one of the most harrowing experiences of their lives. What was supposed to be a relaxing journey through tropical waters and pristine island destinations became a fight for survival when Mother Nature unleashed her fury in a sudden and devastating display of raw power. In just a few terrifying seconds, the entire perception of safety aboard a modern cruise ship would be shattered, leaving passengers traumatized and questioning whether they had narrowly escaped disaster. On the afternoon of March 3, 2019, hundreds of passengers boarded the Norwegian Escape at Manhattan's cruise terminal, excited for their week-long vacation. The cruise itinerary included Port Canaveral, Florida, scheduled arrival March 5th, Great Stirrup Cay, Bahamas, March 6th, Nassau, Bahamas, March 7th, and return to New York on March 10th. Passengers settled into their cabins, visited restaurants and bars, and prepared for their tropical adventure, feeling secure aboard this modern vessel in service since 2015. Just before midnight on March 3rd, as passengers enjoyed their first evening, the Norwegian Escape encountered an unexpected, sudden, extreme gust of wind, estimated at 100 knots, approximately 115 miles per hour, Category 3 hurricane force. The gust struck with such force that the entire vessel heeled violently to the port side. While traumatized passengers believed the ship tilted approximately 45 degrees, maritime experts note that an actual physical angle this extreme would likely have caused a vessel of this size to capsize. Everything unsecured became a projectile. Tables, chairs, and glasses shattered. Clothing racks toppled. Casino machines fell on passengers. The sound of breaking glass mixed with screams created absolute chaos. In the passenger cabins, the sudden loss of gravity caused immediate panic. People watching movies or sleeping felt a deep, terrifying tilting and were jolted awake as the ship continued to lean further. Passengers had to hold tightly onto bolted beds and fixtures to avoid sliding across the floor, with many convinced in those terrifying moments that the massive ship was inevitably going to turn over completely. In the public areas and bars, the scene was equally harrowing. Witnesses watched in horror as the ship leaned drastically sideways. Fleeing the venues, people had to dodge heavy falling furniture and cascading debris. In the chaos and panic of the moment, the terrifying optical illusion made many passengers feel as though the ship was stuck in this dangerous tilt for 5 to 10 minutes, looking down at the dark ocean water directly below them at what should have been a significant height. Eventually, the Norwegian Escape righted itself, though motion remained unstable. The captain declared multiple Code Alpha alerts, maritime emergency codes for medical assistance. At least 8 passengers sustained injuries serious enough to require hospitalization, including broken bones, severe lacerations from broken glass, and trauma from falling objects. A lottery machine fell on a female passenger, causing significant injury. The ship's medical staff treated injured passengers and crew throughout the night. The most severely injured were identified for hospital transport. The ship diverted to Port Canaveral for early arrival on March 5th. Many non-injured passengers remained deeply traumatized, spending the night in common areas, fully clothed and ready to evacuate. The psychological impact of the night was profound across the vessel. Many individuals reported being completely unable to sleep following the incident, experiencing extreme anxiety and shock about what had occurred. Even those who were not physically injured described the sheer terror of watching heavy furniture slide and glassware shatter all around them, expressing immense gratitude that the sudden, catastrophic event had not resulted in fatalities. While the company officially stated there was no structural damage to the vessel itself, the scale of internal chaos required colossal effort from the staff. During the critical tilt, tons of water from the open pools sloshed over the decks and cascaded down the stairs, flooding parts of the corridors and cabins on the lower levels. Thousands of shattered glasses, plates, bottles of expensive alcohol in the bars, and damaged furniture turned luxurious venues into disaster zones. After the ship stabilized, the Norwegian Escape crew worked virtually without sleep to clean up the aftermath as much as possible before arriving at Port Canaveral, clearing mountains of dangerous debris, drying carpets, and restoring public areas. Many passengers later praised the high professionalism and dedication of the ship's rank-and-file workers, who, despite their own shock, prioritized the guests' calm and safety. When the Norwegian Escape arrived at Port Canaveral on March 5th, approximately 12 ambulances awaited at the pier. 8 passengers were transported to local hospitals for treatment. All 8 were eventually released after medical evaluation, with no reported life-threatening injuries. The ship remained docked throughout March 5th, while crew completed damage assessments and safety evaluations before receiving permission to continue operations. Norwegian Cruise Line stated that neither the current itinerary nor subsequent sailings would be impacted. The ship continued operations, with passengers reboarding on the evening of March 5th and departing at 9 p.m. The cruise returned to New York on March 10th as originally scheduled. Some passengers disembarked immediately following the incident in Florida, unable to overcome the psychological trauma of the night and refusing to continue the voyage. Others chose to remain aboard, though many reported ongoing severe anxiety and sleep disruption in the subsequent days. The incident served as a stark reminder that even on modern, highly engineered cruise ships, nature can still create incredibly dangerous situations. Officially, Norwegian Cruise Line stated that the wind gust on March 3, 2019 was unpredictable. However, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration had issued warnings about storm winds for this region in advance. This became the basis for legal claims from injured passengers, who accused the company of ignoring meteorological data. Most cases regarding serious physical injuries were settled out of court with non-disclosure agreements signed, so the exact payout amounts remain classified information. To understand the reason for such vulnerability to wind, the ship's technical specifications must be considered. The Norwegian Escape is a Breakaway Plus class liner, built at the Meyer Werft shipyard in Germany and commissioned in 2015. Its gross tonnage is 164,998 tons, and its length is 326 meters, 1,069 feet. The liner has 20 decks, which creates an enormous windage area. It is exactly this high side profile that makes the vessel physically sensitive to strong wind gusts. The 2019 incident was not the only case where weather conditions and design features affected the safety of the Norwegian Escape. On March 14, 2022, the ship faced another serious issue, also related to the impact of wind on its massive hull. This time, the event occurred during departure from the port of Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. While exiting the port's navigation channel, the liner was hit by a strong gust of wind at a speed of about 30 knots. Due to the large windage area, the ship deviated from the safe fairway. As a result, the bow of the ship went beyond the designated channel and ran aground, getting stuck in the muddy bottom. At that time, there were over 3,000 passengers and about 1,600 crew members on board. Immediately after running aground, the captain stopped the engines to prevent damage to the propulsion pods and bottom cooling systems. Several local tugboats were brought in to free the vessel. However, the first attempt to refloat the liner that same evening proved unsuccessful due to the ship's enormous weight and the outgoing tide. The ship remained aground throughout the entire night. The cruise company officially confirmed that the hull was not breached and passenger evacuation was not required. Life support systems on board, including electricity and restaurant operations, continued to function normally while the crew waited for the water level to change. The next day, March 15th, during high tide, the Norwegian Escape was successfully refloated with the help of tugboats. The ship was returned to the dock at the port of Puerto Plata for an underwater hull inspection by divers and a damage assessment before receiving permission to sail further. Following the technical inspection, the company decided to completely cancel the current cruise. Although no critical structural damage was found, The ship required repairs that, according to safety regulations, could not be carried out with passengers on board. All guests were disembarked and flown back to Florida on charter flights at the company's expense. Subsequently, the liner was sent to a repair shipyard in Port Canaveral, where it stayed for about a month before returning to its regular sailings. These two incidents highlighted the real operational challenges associated with managing ultra-large cruise ships in adverse weather conditions. Today, the Norwegian Escape continues its operations. The stories of the 2019 tilt and the 2022 grounding are documented in official maritime statistics. They serve as practical material for improving safety protocols and assessing meteorological risks for modern megaliners.